What is up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingNews.com and welcome back to another one of our previews. Well, it's Pennsylvania Derby Day, and that's where we'll go. The Pennsylvania Derby live from Parx. It'll be race 13 on the card Saturday, September 21st. It's a big field here, and it's kind of a fun field. I don't think we have like the top end stars, but we've got some good ones here lining up for this grade 1 event. Field of 11. Let's go through them one by one, and we'll give you the win pick at the end. All right, the number 1 is Doc Sullivan. This is a horse that New York bred who had a couple wins in a row before finishing second 2 races back at Finger Lakes in a New York bred stakes, and then second last time out at Saratoga in the Albany Stakes, another New York bred stakes where Pandagate was able to beat this horse. Pretty nice one. Look, I get given this horse a shot. Don't think this is a spot where this horse is going to have a ton of success. Seems a bit over his head, but again, it's not the strongest grade 1 ever. Maybe this horse can hit the board at a little bit of a price. Should be a price for the first time in a while. So we'll see if he can kind of make an impact. I probably won't have on a ticket. I think there's others you can play that are a little bit better. But Doc Sullivan does come in with a decent resume, no doubt. The number 2 is Seize the Grey. Can Seize the Grey get back to his Preakness effort? If the answer is yes, he can win. If the answer is no, he won't do much of anything. And that's kind of the story. People don't like to hear that, but that's kind of what it is. And I was pretty sure that was the case right after the Preakness, that he wasn't that kind of horse. Kind of been proven right. You just got to look at it. Forget about his races as a 2-year-old. That's a long time ago. He's had 7 starts as a 3-year-old. We'll just kind of document him. A nice allowance win at Oaklawn Park off the layoff. Decent number, but nothing spectacular. Ran a good third in the Jeff Ruby. Decent number. Nothing spectacular. No shows the Bluegrass. It's all right. I mean, look, it happens, right? Pat Day Mile, a great win. Not much on the number. None of those horses really came back to do anything. Preakness, out of this world. One of the best numbers you're going to get. A great race. Belmont, Jim Dandy were the next 2 races. Well beaten in both of those. He just hasn't been able to run that Preakness race before or after that day. I don't think he's going to do it here. I'll let him beat me. Number 3 is Lonesome Boy. This is a horse coming off of a 5th place effort last time out at Parx. This was in the Salvatore Sprint. So, yeah, I don't know. This horse has been kind of well beaten in 3 straight efforts. He was in the Wood Memorial early, didn't do much. I think this is a pretty big long. I'm not sure Lonesome Boy is going to do much running today. Number 4 is Time Out. This is a horse that broke the maiden 3 races back at Belmont at the Big A. Did it pretty well. Ran in the Curlin. That was a pretty good spot for him. Was bet down to 4-1 that day, but was 3rd, beaten 4 by Unmatched Wisdom. And the last time out tried a allowance race where he was 3-2 and got beat a half length to Game Warden. Another one just not real interesting to me. The number 5 is Protective. This horse has been really disappointing. Couldn't really get the maiden broke. They tried stakes races, even though this horse was a maiden. He still couldn't do it. They after the Belmont, they dropped him back into a maiden. He still couldn't do it. He finally falls into an off-the-turf maiden special weight at Saratoga where he's 1-9 because he's the only horse that can do any running, and he won. No interest for me in this one. We'll keep going. The number 6 is Just Step on It. So Just Step on It, a horse that ran 4th in the Haskell, beaten 8 3/4. That was 2 races back. And then came up here to Parx and ran in the local prep race for this, the Smarty Jones, and 8 3/4 of a length. Not too bad. I thought this was, a pretty decent performance. 3 races back, won a race here at Parx and Allowance Company. So he's not terrible, but again, he's another one that's just like, gonna have to step up his game. So kind of a broken record, but these first 6 horses, not that interested in them. Number 7, however, Dragoon Guard. He's coming off 4 straight victories in a row. Maiden special weight at Keeneland, easy win. An allowance at Churchill, another easy win. Indiana Derby, easy win. West Virginia Derby, easy win. Now, a lot of years, the Indiana and the West Virginia Derby, they're kind of step downs from the Pennsylvania Derby. But when you look at this field, they're not. They look pretty much the same. In fact, Dragoon Guard is the favorite in this race, and the second choice is Stronghold, who he beat in the Indiana Derby. That shows you Indiana Derby, this race, it's kind of the same. We've recapped 6 horses that I at least Seize the Grey. If he runs a Preakness, yes, but his other races and then the other ones for these other horses, they're not as good as Dragoon Guard, period. So he'll be pretty tough in this one. He draws a little bit of an outside post. I think that's good. He draws outside of Seize the Grey, so he can kind of make his move depending on what Seize the Grey does. So Dragoon Guard looks good in here. All right, here's another good horse. The number 8 is Unmatched Wisdom. 3 straight victories, including a race in the Curlin Stakes, 2 races back. That was a solid effort, no doubt about it. Last time out, ran in the Travers, bet down to 9-1, finished 7th, beating 18 3/4. However, he did not get anywhere near the trip that he probably should have gotten in that race. I don't really know what was happening there with that horse. He needed to be towards the front for sure and just didn't get much of a ride. So I don't know. I think the horse can bounce back. I don't think this is a bad spot for the horse. I think makes sense. Pretty good price on the morning line, at least 8-1. So yeah, I don't hate this horse. I think this horse has a shot here at a decent number. The number 8, speaking of horses with decent shots, well, not this one. The number 8 is Who's the King. This is a horse that did break the maiden all the way 5 races back there at Gulfstream Park. 6th in a starter allowance after that, 2nd in an allowance, 4th in a starter, and 7th in a starter. Those last 2 starters at Saratoga beating a combined 36 1/4. No, thank you. Number 9 is Uncle Heavy. Excuse me. I just misspoke. Number 10 is Uncle Heavy. Number 9 was Who's the King. Number 10 is Uncle Heavy. And I've never liked Uncle Heavy. Show me a race where I should like him. The Withers, sure, won at 9-1, beat nothing, and has done no running really since. Beaten 11 in the Wood Memorial, beaten 13 in the Preakness, beaten 10 in the Ohio Derby, and then last time out in the Sparty Jones, finished 3rd, beaten 2.5. Are you seeing why? It's like Dragoon Guard looks pretty good. Unmatched Wisdom looks pretty good. These horses, they're not great. And then finally, the horse the outside, number 11, Stronghold. Yeah, look, I think this is a decent horse. I don't think he's great. I do think he's decent. I think he's better than a lot that we've talked about here. You know, the winner of the Sunland Derby, winner of the Santa Anita Derby. I think the problem is that Santa Anita Derby, it definitely got everybody excited, and including me. But, you know, okay, he beat Imagination, who's went on to finish 7th, 7th, and 3rd in his next 3 starts. He did beat EJ, won the Cup. He's won 2 out of 3, but he had to drop down in class to do it. So, you know, Curlin's Chaos won a couple races afterwards. So, I mean, it's not a horrible group, but it's not a Santa Anita Derby that is going to be remembered as something special either. So, yeah, it was a good win, though. Don't take it away. I actually thought Stronghold ran pretty well in the Kentucky Derby, all things considered. Way outside. Didn't really get the trip he wanted. Ran 7th. I know he got beaten 12. I kind of drew a line through it. I thought the last race against Dragoon Guard was a real good test for both horses. Dragoon Guard was moving up in class, getting ready to kind of, you know, he'd earned that shot at the Indiana Derby. It's not like they were taking a shot, right? Like he earned it. But you had to, you know, you kind of had the Stronghold, who had been a proven commodity, versus Dragoon Guard, who we thought would be good, but let's see. Stronghold really didn't compete in that race with Dragoon Guard. Now he beat everybody else, and he beat everybody else pretty clear. That gives me hope for here. I don't know how he's going to make up the links on Dragoon Guard. I think that's the biggest problem. So, but still, he's a nice horse. You want to play him here. I get it. And, you know, I think he, at this point, we kind of know who he is. And I think he's going to beat horses that aren't great. He's not going to beat ones that have a little bit more talent. And that's just how that goes. So that's the field of 11 here. This is going to be a very interesting race. There's no doubt about it. I almost picked Unmatched Wisdom. I really like that horse in second. I almost picked him to win, but you know, you go back and you watch the Curlin, it just wasn't that good when he stretched out at Facing Stakes Company there. And look, Corporate Power was a horse he beat that day, but I just couldn't get behind him. So I went number 7, Dragoon Guard, on top in this one. I think he's way the horse to beat. You know, 4 wins in a row. He seems to be getting better. His Indiana Derby was his best race, and then you go watch the West Virginia Derby. He was even better in that spot. And I think he's going to show up and be very tough to beat here. It's a chalky sequence, in my opinion. I do think Unmatched Wisdom, Stronghold, those are horses that could get home. I'd be a little bit surprised if anybody else. So, Yeah, I'm going to go number 7, Dragoon Guard, to win the Pennsylvania Derby. All right, that'll do it for our preview of the Pennsylvania Derby live from Parx Saturday, September 21st. Make sure to hit that like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe. You really like it. Want to get alerted anytime we do videos like this. Also, for full coverage of every race, every track, every day, make sure to go to racingdudes.com. That's the main place to go for all of our horse racing picks. All right, guys, that'll do it for this preview. It's going to be a fun day at Parx. Everybody have a good time if you're going or if you're betting, and good luck.